Howdy everyone, and welcome back to the studio. I hope you are well today. So I just finished up a new painting, and I call it Morning Sentinels. This piece is based in Glacier National Park. It's St. Mary's Lake. It's a really iconic place. So this piece was a little bit of an experiment. I enjoyed painting it, although it was a little bit challenging, and at the end of it I liked it, but I didn't love it necessarily, but that's okay, because that's why we do this, so we can learn and get better. So I hope you join me with this video. I'm going to go ahead and narrate over it and talk about my process, and I hope you enjoy. So I drafted up a design on this linen on board to start off with. And the first thing you'll notice is that I'm working on an eagle shape in the sky, and that's kind of the main focal point of this entire piece. My goal was to make this look like a very natural landscape with a sort of magical quality behind it. So I'm going over right now and just making sure my sky is a nice tone. Really just only working with titanium white, burnt umber, and ultramarine blue. I like to work in stages when I'm starting a painting, especially when it comes to the sky. The sky actually really changes the piece. Everything else sort of follows. So if you start off with that, then you can imagine your piece in an easier light, and it becomes easier. Now this piece is based in the morning. The sun has just come up over the hills, and you'll notice later on that a lot of the mountains are baked in just very orange and warm light. So now I've moved down into painting the furthest peak away, that Mount Citadel. It sits at the very head of the lake and has some glaciers in the back, so I'm going to paint some of that in and continue to use that warmer tones and continue to saturate that as I move forward in this painting. So I've kind of moved up now to a closer peak, and I'm blocking in what would be a lower forest. And what's surprising is color relativity. So that means one color looks different when it's next to a different color. So that looks green, but it's actually quite orange. It's a mixture of burnt umber, barium orange, and a hint of teal. Now I'm just blocking in more rock shapes into the peak, trying to get some of the main outlines of what that mountain looks like. I work relatively quick. I don't really like to fuss around too much. Sometimes you get drawn into something though, and you have to remind yourself, oh, I don't have to worry so much. So I'm stepping forward now, and everything just gets more saturated, and that's what gives the illusion of depth in a painting. Now I'm working on a linen for this piece as my main canvas, and I did it a little different this time. Typically I like to work on a linen that has either a lead-based ground or a titanium-based ground, and this one I actually used a clear gesso. I wanted to kind of give it a feel of almost like you're painting on a woven surface. And I did enjoy that, but it was difficult because that is basically a medium tone, and everything else either had to be dark or light. See, now you'll see another shape in the mountain. I've actually painted in what looks like a bear shape, and that's also another focal point in this painting. It's going to end up looking like a shadow cast on the mountain, as if there were a cloud in front of the sun. Now I've moved up into another rocky area, and then I begin putting in some shapes for the lake. I decided I wanted a little hint of reflection of the mountains, and then I'm going to blend that together, but it'll tie the piece together so it's not just mountains above and blue lake below. I usually work in alla prima method, which is just painting in one go instead of layering, which would mean I would have to wait for the paint to dry, and then I can layer on top of that, or I could glaze, which is just a thin and transparent coat. But I typically stay away from that. It takes a long time for glazings to dry, and I prefer just to be able to block in larger shapes and continue moving and try and get everything right in one go, which is much easier said than done, but it typically works out. And you can see I've split a small dark shape in the distance, and that's actually Goose Island. It's a very iconic little island in the middle of this lake, and it's quite beautiful. If you ever have the opportunity to get over to St. Mary's Lake, it's a wonderful experience, although typically very windy, so be prepared for that. Now I've moved into this mountain once more and trying to soften things. It's very strong right now, and I do enjoy the warmer tones in the mountain. I usually paint with much more blue and cooler tones, and it's kind of a nice change of pace. I wanted this piece to feel like there was some sort of spiritual presence just beyond the lake itself. And there's plenty of wildlife there, but sometimes it's nice to incorporate that also into the actual piece in a different perspective. So I've actually finished up here. I put in some forest at the foreground to give it a little bit more depth, and you can see the eagle is formed in the clouds. The piece overall has come out pretty uniform. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. This painting, called Morning Sentinels, is hanging up in a gallery on the east side of Glacier National Park. It's at a place called the Kyiyo Mercantile. It's a great place to stop in if you're ever touring the area and want to see something different. It's full of many talented Montana artists, and a great place just to see something different. If you like this format and you want to see some more of this in the future, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you have any comments, just say something down below and I'll definitely answer it. And until next time, take care.